Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to make a quick and simple tomato soup. The ingredients that you'll need are some carrots, garlic, celery, onion, and you only need about a half a cup of each celery, onion, and carrot. Chicken broth, low sodium preferred. A can of tomatoes, preferably these Cento San Marzano tomatoes. I think that they're the best when it comes to making tomato soup. It has a very rich, deep color. I don't know if it's because it's grown in Italy and they have better produce, but I think that this tastes better than any other brand. Some dill, fresh dill. And something that's optional are these beautiful brown beech mushrooms. And if you want your tomato soup to have a little bit more body to it, you can add a little bit of these, and I think that they have a very nice texture to complement the tomato soup, but it is optional. And now let's begin. So the first thing we need to do is chop up our vegetables. I'm going to start with the celery. And these were washed. The carrots were peeled and washed. And my garlic cloves are also peeled. Okay, I'm gonna line them all up so it's easier. So we're actually dicing these up. Quarter of an inch to an inch thick pieces, but you don't really need to go too crazy with the size. Because the idea is for these to be cooked out and at some point blended into the tomato soup. So don't worry about the size of your vegetables too much. Okay, and then for the carrot, one fell. Let me get that. All right. Oh, don't go away. Okay. Try to be careful when slicing these. So I'm slicing these into mini slabs first because it'll be easier for me to slice and dice this way. And I'll do the same thing with this. So I had a bag of rainbow colored carrots, but I realized that they really don't taste that much different, whether it's the purple, orange, or white carrot. It's really all the same. We just want the flavor of the carrot, not so much concerned about the color. It's gonna be red tomato soup in the end regardless. All right. And I think that the carrots add a greater depth to the soup and makes it more like hearty Like, even though it's tomato soup, it still smells so good and has a vegetable component. When added. All right, and now for the onion, I didn't use the whole onion. I just used about as much that I thought would make a half a cup. So I'm gonna dice these up as well. I'm gonna do half and half. It's easier to handle. That's a lot of onion. I think that's a little bit more than a half a cup, but that's okay. When it comes to the onion, the more the better, because they have a nice sweetness to it. They add a nice sweetness to the tomato soup. And when you cook it down, it's going to be really good in the soup. So, not a big deal if you have a little extra. Alright, and I forgot about our garlic. Let me see if I can find them in here. Okay, here's one. All right. Now the garlic. Last item to be cut up. So you can mince the garlic if you have the time, but again, you don't have to go crazy if they're not like perfectly minced. Roughly chopped is okay, because these are also going to get cooked down and blended into the soup as well. All right, so now let's stir fry our vegetables. All right, so we're gonna start with some oil in a heated pan. Not a pan, pot, soup pot. And we want to make sure that the heat is not too high, because we do not in any way want to burn our vegetables. And you want to cook your vegetables until they're soft. I'm going to add a little bit more oil. So the goal here is we want all of the flavor to come out of these vegetables before we add anything else. It smells so good. Right, and now we're going to add our garlic. And let that cook and release its aromas. If at any point you see that your vegetables are starting to stick to the bottom of the pot and burn, turn down the flame, because you do not want any burned vegetables in this pot, in this soup. It smells even better with the garlic. Alright, and now we're going to add our tomatoes. As you can see, the onions have started to turn that nice translucent color, so that lets us know that it's time for the tomatoes to go in. And then we want to add about a cup to a cup and a half of chicken stock. It really depends on how thin or thick you like your soup. I like my tomato soup to have a medium consistency. So I'm going to start off with a cup and a half of chicken stock. See how that goes. And oh, actually, you know what? I could have done this. You don't have to do this, but I want to get as much of the tomato left behind in the can as I can. There we go. Waste not, want not. Okay. Stir that around. It's looking and smelling pretty good so far. And then we're going to cover this and let it cook for about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, so it has been 30 minutes, and as you can see, our tomatoes and our vegetables have softened down quite a bit. So now we're ready to blend this up and then add our mushrooms and our herbs for our aromatics, which is just going to be dill. So we're just going to blend this for a few minutes. You want to make sure that your handheld blender is submerged all the way into the liquid before you turn it on, so it doesn't cause any splashes. And don't lift it up. You can lift it up a little bit, but not too much. And I'm holding it at an angle. And you just keep blending it until you reach the consistency that you like. I think I like it a little bit thinner, so I'm going to blend it just a little bit more further. Okay, I think that will do it. That's perfect. I'm gonna take some of these beech mushrooms here. I think I'm gonna add just a little bit more. I'm gonna give these a quick rinse and then add them to our soup. All right, I'm gonna turn the heat back on. I turned it off earlier just to avoid the splashing, but I'm gonna turn it back on. Medium to low heat, and I'm gonna add my mushrooms, and we're gonna let these cook until they're softened. And now I'm gonna prepare a generous amount of dill, chopped dill. I gave them a quick rinse just in case there were any, dirt on them or anything. And then I'm patting them dry, and then I'm gonna remove these big pieces of stem. We don't need the big pieces of stem unless you like the texture of the stem in your soup. I don't, so I'm just gonna remove them. Okay, that should do it. And then you just chop these finely. And then we're going to add this to our soup. can also use fresh thyme if you have it, but I really love the flavor of fresh dill in almost any soup that I make. Okay, that should do it. All right, so our mushrooms have softened. They really don't take a long time to cook. Beautiful mushrooms. They have a very lovely texture, almost like a noodle. So I really enjoy having these mushrooms in my tomato soup. The last step is we're just going to add some fresh dill, finely chopped fresh dill. Oh, it smells so good, guys. All right, and our soup is ready. Let me plate this up. And if you like to, you can garnish it with fresh thyme or some more fresh dill. And there we have it, guys. Simple ingredient, very easy tomato soup recipe. If you like this recipe, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Do you have a different recipe? Do you add different aromatics? Do you add mushrooms or anything to add body to your tomato soup? Leave a comment, and happy eating.